Hi, everyone. Alan Childs here, Chief of Police for the town, and we are tenant in service, which means we're here to make people's lives better. And we do that by safeguarding the lives, rights, and property of everyone we serve. We're going to talk about the robbery that had happened. We're also going to talk about some of the other crime, fairly low for the accidents for the week. And we're going to cover shopping safety. So whether you're online or in person, what are some of the tips that we can give to help you stay safer during the shopping season? If you have tips, go ahead and throw them in the chat. I'd be interested to hear. I think we learn a lot from one another. So go ahead and throw them in the chat. And then if, you know, this is a live show, so if you have any questions, go ahead and you can put those in the chat as well. And I'll work to answer them live during the show. If I can't during the show, then I'll answer them afterwards. All right, FEMA All Hazards Checklist. This is something you want to download. This is going to have some good tips to survive these very infrequent events that can be very catastrophic. And they're going to prepare you ahead of time and then give you some tips on what you can do during and then when it comes back to the rebuilding stage. Another good source of information is the County Guide to Wildfire Preparedness and Evacuation. And then make sure you sign up for the community warning system from the Office of the Sheriff. That's how you're going to be notified. The Wildfire Preparedness and Evacuation Guide does have some information on what you can do to prepare your home, your family, yourself, your pet, and what you can do to be safe. Also, go to the PG&E website. There you can see information on what you can do to be prepared. You can also get alerts for these power outages. There is a PSPS that's going to be taking place, but it's nowhere in Contra Costa County. Yay. So it's not going to be for us, but it's way up north and way down south. But if you're not signed up to receive alerts, you'll never know that these things are potentially going to happen. And I'll tell you this, I would rather have some notice than no notice. And PG&E is doing real good at ramping up their notifications. And I know the last time we had the power, well, last 3 times we had the power out last year, each time the power came back either on or before they said it was going to be back on, except for one, and it was a little bit later, but they did update the information and put it out there. So at least we knew, you know, is this going to be 10 hours, 2 days? Where are we at? So it's a very good information source for being prepared. Now, this is this show, you can catch us during the, trying to see if we're hung up here. All right, looks like we're still good on YouTube. Sorry about that. We're going to keep going, and then we'll see if we can't get this corrected on our end. All right, so this is a live show, so we do want people that have questions to put them in the chat. The question of the day, again, is if you have a safety tip. So what do you do either online or when you go shopping? What do you do in order to stay safe? And if you could put that in the chat, we'll learn from one another. Great seeing you virtually. I much prefer to see people personally. And I'll give you this one tip. Today I was eating lunch downtown with a friend of mine. And I was very happy that during lunch, 3 different times, people interrupted me to say hello. And I'll tell you this, and this goes for all the cops in town. If you see one of us and we're clearly not in enforcement, we're not on a car stop, we're not investigating a crime, but we're otherwise not doing police work, so to speak. But if you see us out and we're out at coffee, we're out at a Toys for Tots event, out to lunch, feel free to, just give us the little tug on the shirt sleeve and say hi. Always love to be interrupted and checked in. And I'll be honest with you, I'm out to lunch with my friend and 3 different folks came up and said, hey, how are you doing? Shake hands, all that. That's great. And that's really what this is about, is how do we stay connected with the community that we serve? Another way that you can do that is come down to Marshall's. We did it last Friday. We're doing it again this Friday. We're running it right back. Friday, December 15th to 1 to 5. You can bring your own in, or you can go into Marshall's and buy some, or you go to Costco and bring those down too, just as long as they're new, unwrapped. And the Marines should be there, and they can actually take cash donations as well that they can use to purchase Toys for Tots. We're going to be at Marshall's, 31 Fostoria Way, Danville, and we're going to be there on the 15th. That's this Friday. And we're going to be there from 1 to 5. So please come join us. Lindsay will certainly be out there all day. Lindsay Ortiz is our outreach coordinator. She's kind of the face of the police department. You see her at our Recess with the Cops, our Coffee with the Cops, and our Fill the Cruiser event to benefit Toys for Tots. So you do see us out there. All right, we do have some responses rolling in. If you can, the question of the day is, what safety tips do you adhere to? and that maybe you can pass on to somebody else on how you can be safe during a shopping season, whether it's in person or online. All right, if you want information on what crime is happening, you go to communitycrimemap.com. You'll get all the information. We upload there several times a day, and you can also get Megan's Law information there as well. And then you can get, you can zoom into an area, and you can actually set up an alert so that you can either get alerts as the information's uploaded, or what I do personally is I get a daily digest. All right, so December 4th through 10th, not bad. Could have been a little better, but we had on the 4th, we had a non-injury collision. That was at San Ramon Valley Boulevard and Sycamore Valley Road. Just an issue about turning. On the 5th, we had an injury collision. Now, this is an auto versus pedestrian in the crosswalk at the 500 block of El Capitan, and this is where the vehicle ran over the pedestrian's toes. On the 8th, we had a non-injury hit-and-run collision on West Linda Mesa Avenue on the Iron Horse Trail, and this was a car versus a scooter. No injuries. Everybody kind of rode or scootered away. And then on the 10th, we had a non-injury collision at Sycamore Valley Road near I-680. Now, that collision on the 8th, I do not actually know who's at fault, cause, or anything like that. But anytime I see an accident and it's near the Iron Horse Trail, it just kind of begs for me to at least give a couple of quick tips. So the 2 tips I want to give. First one is, if you're on the Iron Horse Trail, those are stop signs. You do have to stop. So if you're on a bicycle, if you're jogging, if you're pushing the stroller, walking, whatever it is, you cannot just continue through. You have to stop. You have to wait to make sure there's no vehicular traffic, and then you can go. I have seen, and I don't know that that's the case in this one, but I've seen a lot of accidents where it's really the person crossing the road that's at fault for the accident, even though they're in the crosswalk, and not the driver. In crosswalks, drivers have a duty to stop and yield to a pedestrian in the crosswalk. Pedestrians, cyclists, joggers, baby stroller pushers, all have a responsibility not to just dart out into that crosswalk. You have to wait and then go. You have to at least give the driver the opportunity to stop. The second one is, and this is what I'm very happy to report, and it's not a law, and that's the great thing, is a lot of times Danville is so safe, not because people follow the laws, which are basically the basement standard of our conduct, but they have a higher standard. And what I'm happy to say is what I see a lot of times, and I'm on the Iron Horse Trail literally every day. I walk to and from work, or I'll ride my bike. In fact, this evening, you'll see me walking down the trail. What I see most often is cars will slow down as they hit the Iron Horse Trail crossing, whether there's someone there or not, and they'll come almost to a stop, and then they'll go. Rarely do I ever see someone just barrel through the crosswalk area on a car, even though legally all of our crossings are usually 25-mile-an-hour crossings. It's not controlled by a light. They don't have to stop. They don't even have to slow. They can drive 25 miles an hour. That's not what I see. And so kudos to all the drivers, and good job there. All right, let's look at crime. You'll see that there's going to be a lot of thefts here. So let's take a look. All right, on the total, we had 4 thefts, 1 robbery. And that robbery could arguably be a burglary as well, and I'll talk about the difference there. On the 5th, we had money. This was money that was placed into an envelope and mailed to the post office and never arrived to the sender or to the recipient. On the 5th, we had theft of alcohol from Smart and Final on Diablo Road. On the 6th, we had the robbery at the Home Consignment Center, and I'll talk about that here in a minute. On the 7th, we had theft of alcohol from Bevmo on Diablo Road. On the 7th, we had package theft from the doorstep of Remington Loop. And then on the 9th, we had theft of property from the home on Hill Meadow. So alcohol thefts are responsible for 2 of the 4 thefts that we had there. I'm realizing we had 5 thefts, not 4. All right, I'm going to move on to the arrest log next, and then we'll cover that Home Consignment Center, and we'll talk about the difference between the robbery and the burglary. So the arrest log, we split it by DUI and then all other. On the DUI, that's driving under the influence of either drugs or alcohol. On the 28th, so I'm realizing that slide did not carry over. So we did have, we actually had 3 arrests for DUI last week, all of them towards the latter half of the week, all of them driving in our downtown area. 2 of them were site released, 1 was booked in jail. I apologize for the slide not being updated, but let's look at the other arrests that occurred during the week. On the December 4th through 10th, we had no other arrests. So great job, Danville. And why, you're asking, why would I put the slide up with no arrests and then put great job, Danville? Well, the reality is, in order for us to arrest someone has to have committed a crime. And tell kids when we go to recess with the cops, tell folks at the talks when I give them to adults, the best day for a police officer is when we write no tickets, make no arrests, because that means no one's been a victim of a crime, no one's been injured in an accident. So as much as officers do like to do thorough investigations, and when an arrest is deemed necessary to make the arrest, book in jail, we love to do thorough jobs. We would much rather have a week where prevention is key. No one was injured, no one was battered, no one was hit, no one was hurt, no one was a victim. So those are good weeks for us. It doesn't mean that we're not working. It just means we're focused in other areas. All right, let's talk about the strong arm robbery. So we talked about it last week. This is actually what delayed the show last week. Strong arm robbery was December 6th, 2023, and it was at about 3:53, so just before 4 p.m. And it was at the Home Consignment Center on Camino Ramon. 3 unknown race males entered the store, went to the jewelry case, broke the jewelry case, and then fled the area. So we are working that case. We do send detectives down there. So there was a question earlier, and the question was, well, if they just went in and smashed the case, is this a strong arm robbery, or is this simply a burglary? And definition, a burglary is when you enter a structure with the intent to commit a theft or any felony. A robbery is when you take property, and it could be from a person, it could be from their immediate presence or under their control, and you do it by force or fear. The person legitimately does have to be afraid, and you can infer that fear based on circumstances, right? So someone comes in and starts breaking glass, and if people start to flee and run, you can consider the fact that they were generating enough fear in that situation. This is one of those cases where it can be really both, right? Did those people enter the Home Consignment Center with the intent to commit the theft? Yes. Did they also commit the theft by using force or fear? Yes. So it makes it a robbery. All right. So we are going to move on to our safety slides here. Let's look and see what questions we have, and then also what safety examples. All right. So Dina says, in the last podcast, you mentioned a couple of break-ins from back sliders. Just curious, did they break the glass in both cases, or how did they attempt to get in? In one case, you mentioned the woman was away and was alerted by the camera, and the other example was someone home, or most cases were the burglars are targeting when people aren't home. Okay, so it looks like there's maybe 3 questions there. So 1, backsliders were broken. 2, homes that we find with burglaries, they're typically unoccupied, or there's information leading us to believe that the burglars thought they were unoccupied. So a sleeping person, we've had it in the past where some people have been in like a shower and maybe didn't hear the people coming in. And as soon as the burglars were alerted to the presence of the homeowner or resident, they fled. And in the case last week, we were talking about, there were 2, one, they were both unoccupied, but one, the homeowner actually could see on their alarm system that the person was not there. And that was kudos to the homeowner for 1, having the alarm, 2, monitoring it, 3, saying something, and 4, reporting it to the police all at the same time. So they did a phenomenal job. All right. But it does look like they are targeting when people are not home. Ryan, so this looks like it's in response to our question, which is to list your method for how you stay safe while shopping. So Ryan says situational awareness. Very good. Pay attention to your surroundings. Stop looking at your phone. Verify sellers online. Meet at a public place, space, or your station. So pretty interesting. I have a friend that works at a transit police department, and what he says is that oftentimes he would take reports of stolen cell phones, and the person that was the victim of the crime couldn't even describe the person that took their phone. And the reason given was they were staring so intently down at their phone that they never saw the person that actually took it. So once the phone was out of the hands, they looked up and they couldn't even pick the person that had taken their phone. So very good. Don't stay down. So Ryan had mentioned a couple of things. He said, verify sellers online. Recently, I'm trying to sell one of our pickup trucks, right? And getting all these out of area phone numbers saying, hey, cash, I'll take it now. I'll send you a check. And if you cash it, give me a little extra money. Literally, I'm getting hit with every fraud that you can find. And so really you do want to verify the seller. So me personally, I just do local only. And what Ryan pointed out, and if you don't know, we have a safe trade zone right in front of the police department. So if you come down here 500 Lagonda Way, and tell the seller or the buyer, hey, meet me at the Danville Police Department, 500 Lagonda Way. There's a safe trade zone in the back. And right where our gate is to enter the police department parking, and right in front of our front door, so visible from our front counter, is our safe trade zone. And there's also a camera there as well. So if someone comes into our parking lot and goes to that area, we will be able to identify their vehicle and plate and all that. So it's a good spot to do it. So Ryan, excellent advice. And Patty, good job for giving some kudos to Lindsay. She deserves it, right? Dina says, my shopping safety tip is that I don't carry a purse. Dina, thank you for saying that. I say it every show, and then there's at least a couple of women that say, you can't tell a woman not to keep her purse. We've got to keep our purses. So I'm happy to hear a woman say that. So Dina says, my shopping safety tip is that I don't carry a purse. I just use my phone, Apple Pay to pay. Most places take it now. If I do need to take a credit card, I just put it in my pocket. So Dina, I'm a lot like you. This is it for me. And this is my wallet, and it goes right to the back. And you can see I'm so lame that I even put one of those air tags on my wallet because I probably would lose it if I didn't have it. But that's all I carry with me. And we know that that's a good tip. But let's look at in person. So this is when we go to retail stores. What should we be thinking about? What should we be doing? So one of the biggest tips actually is plan your visits during less busy times. If you are a pickpocket, a thief, a crook, you're going to use the cover and concealment provided by a lot of people in order to commit your theft. But a couple months ago, and I've showed it a few times, but there was a pickpocket theft in Costco where these thieves worked in coordination, and they did a very good job of reaching into a lady's, unzipping it, reaching into and taking her wallet. And it was when the whole clothing area of Costco was really busy. So it was really hard to do that. And then here is Ryan's tip, which is be aware of your surroundings. Know what's going on around you. Don't keep your head buried in your phone. If you are looking intently at something, the product, the label, what you're looking at, every once in a while, take your head, poke it up, see who's around you. Why is someone standing right behind me? That would be odd, right? Keep valuables safe and out of sight. And that's Dina's tip. Dina says, hey, if I want to make sure that I'm not even a target of theft, I'm just not bringing my purse with me. And so we say, make sure that you keep those valuables that you might carry on your person, keep them out of sight. Use credit cards wisely. I think the big one on that is try to use your credit card instead of your debit card is a good one. And then keep receipts, verify statements, make sure you're checking your bank statements. That's going to be your first sign of fraud if someone was able to compromise your credit card number. And then keep valuables out of sight in your car. So when you park your car, our recommendation is, what I do is I might open up the frunk or something, put my stuff in there, close it, and then drive to the destination. That way, if you look through my windows, it's seats and floorboard. That's it. If you try to stuff something down on the floorboard and they can see through your window that something is kind of tucked underneath there, that means to them that it's valuable and they're going to go take it. If they see you stuffing something underneath, like you're reaching in the back and you're stuffing, or you're reaching underneath the front seat and you're stuffing it there, that means it's valuable. And so they're going to break your window and take it. So don't signal to a would-be thief that may be watching the parking lot that there's something valuable in your car. So do that off-site, bring it there. If Dina's got her purse with her, I'm sure what she does is she stops, half a mile away, puts her purse in a locked trunk or frunk or something similar, and then drives to the destination and simply gets out of the car with her phone, and Dina's good to go shopping. So that's our recommendation there. And so let's cover online retail safety. So this can be a little bit trickier, but these tips are good all the time. And the phishing one is probably the big one because that's the one that we see all year round. Make sure you're using trusted websites. Avoid clicking through. Like if you get a text message or an email, those could be phishing. If you want to go to your website, the website that you like to shop at, make sure you go to that site. Make sure that it does have a secure connection, and make sure that you're using the site that you should be instead of a spoofed site. Use strong passwords for your accounts. So on your shopping accounts, try to avoid using passwords that may be easily compromised, that have your name in it. If you can, use a password management tool. Those are pretty effective and actually recommended. When I reached out to NCRIC, that's our fusion center that, like the FBI and the sheriff's office has people embedded in there, and asked them what's the best way to handle passwords. and they recommended using a password manager because it generates and creates very strong, long passwords, and it really does keep your account safe. Make sure you, again, monitor your bank statements. This is where you're going to find fraud. And the phishing, the hover to discover, this is that trick, and we talked about it before on the show, and we'll have a section on this in the future. But if you're looking at a website and maybe you get an email, a lot of times if you just take your cursor on your computer and just hover over it, information will pop up, and it'll tell you where the website is actually linked to and where the hyperlink is going to take you to. Avoid all that, and instead of clicking on it, just don't click on it. Just go right to your website. So if you were to get an email saying there was fraud at your bank and your account was compromised, don't even bother clicking anything on that email. Just call your bank direct at the number that you know to call it. Or if you're more comfortable with online, you can go to their website that you know that you normally would go to. Again, payments, choose credit cards over debit cards, and then track your packages. I know a lot of times in our family, my wife may get something and she'll just get it delivered to the office. That way it has to be signed for and we know that we're going to receive it. Otherwise, if you look on and let me throw that picture back up. I like this picture because the package is at the front door and there's a little Ring doorbell or a video doorbell of some sort right next to it. So you're going to get a notification that the person is there. And that's how you'll be able to get notification that your package is there. And then, frankly, if someone steals it, we'll have that information as well. Our hope is, though, is that they'll steal one of our bait packages out. I think we have the longest unsuccessful streak of getting our bait package stolen. We've never had our bait package stolen. We've had bait packages for like 4 or 5 years. We've had our bait bikes get stolen, and those are bikes equipped with GPS tracking devices that we put all over town. But our bait packages, which are packages equipped with GPS tracking devices, I haven't had those stolen yet. So we'll keep working and hope that the crooks steal our packages and not yours. All right, I'm going to check the chat here, see if there's anything and Roy and I appreciate you on YouTube telling us that the video is good. And Ryan, thank you again at the top for letting us know that the feed was good. And then Shirley, what I'll do is I'll direct message you on how to set up to receive messages. Oh, and Pat has a good one. This is great. So on Amazon orders, suggest sending to an Amazon locker. So if you're not familiar, a lot of times when you get an Amazon package, you get it delivered right to your door. But you can also get it delivered to an Amazon locker. And I don't know where all the lockers are, but I know when I shop at Safeway up in Blackhawk, there used to be and may still be some Amazon lockers in there. And so you can have them delivered to that locker, and then you can go at your convenience, go up and pick up your merchandise. So that's a great suggestion, Pat. A lot of times too, what people will do is, like, my house has like a courtyard. So when packages are dropped off, they're not visible from the street at all. So unless someone walks into my courtyard area of my house, you'll never see that a package is there. And I think our delivery drivers, and kudos if anyone's a delivery driver watching this, because you have a tough job. You're out all the time. But they do a very good job, and I think they totally hook me up by not just setting it right in the one angle that would be visible from the street. They actually kind of tuck it around, or they'll place it behind, a fountain or, a bush or something like that. So it's really good, and they really do a good job of helping us stay safe as well. All right, so Shirley, not answering yours live, but I will answer it in the chat later. But that is all I have for the show. So let's talk about having a connection. Come join us on Fill the Cruiser, Toys for Tots, Friday, December 15th from 1 to 5 at the Marshalls parking lot. And that's at 31 Fostoria Way. Bring an unused toy, and or you can go into Marshalls and buy one. You can go into Costco and buy one and bring it down. And we'd be happy to just see you and chat with you for a bit. Also, connect with us. Make sure you opt in for the community warning system by the Office of the Sheriff, Contra, Costa County, and then download the Wildfire and Preparedness and Evacuation Guide by the county, and then go see the PG&E website where you can get information on outages and tips on how to be safe during an outage, and then download the FEMA All Hazards Checklist. And I think Lindsay's going to kill me because I forgot to mention this. This is our ornament this year. We've got these. These are actually made by Amy Ballack. If you remember, she used to actually produce this very show. She was the one that started it. And these are really, really cool. And these are free for you. So first come, first serve. If you want one of these really cool ornaments, come down to the police department, check it out. This is our first full year in operation, 500 Lagonda Way. There's a small tree in the lobby, and we'll just keep refilling them until they're out. So come on and enjoy one of those ornaments. Kind of a funny story. We had put out that we were giving away Christmas ornaments, and one of the local news stations, or we said Christmas tree ornaments. One of the local news agencies actually forgot to put the ornament on there, so they just put Christmas trees, so that Danville PD was delivering, giving out Christmas trees, which we're not. And we had people showing up wanting their free tree, and they were a little disappointed, but they did leave with a cool ornament. So there they go. All right. Thank you all for joining us. I really do appreciate you joining us each week, whether you're watching live or later on. And thank you. We're 10-10, which means we're off duty, but we're always 10-8 in service to all of you. Have a good night, Danville.